Funding for Start the Beat is provided in part by our supporters on Patreon. Thank you. Hello and welcome to Start the Beat with Sykes. My name is Sykes and this is my podcast. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank everyone who checked out the last episode. If you're one of those people, thanks so much for coming back. But for everyone out there who's new to the show, welcome. Feel free to make yourselves at home. And as always, there's beer, soda, or just water in the fridge. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes. Slow fade on this beat. Happy Sunday. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
I'm all right. I got this sudden burst of energy out of nowhere, and it's going to be a steep decline real quick. So I'm going to need you to carry this.
Okay.
But it's okay. I have a very exciting guest in the studio today. Everybody make some noise for my new friend, Abigail Jerri. The internet's happy you're here. I'm happy that you're here. Tell us about yourself.
So, yeah, my name is Abigail Jerri, and I'm originally from Pittsburgh, PA, Dormont, specifically. I moved to Nashville about 2 years ago because I went to the Judy Stakey songwriting retreat 3 years ago and kind of like went back and forth, a month here, a month there. And I was like, all right, I'll just, but I absolutely love visiting my hometown. Like whenever I'm here, sorry, Nashville, but I'm like, I want to stay here longer. So,
well, sure. I mean, I imagine, you grew up here, you have friends and family that are here. And
yeah.
Pittsburgh's a cool town.
It really is. And honestly, leaving, Pittsburgh helped me see that more. It really did. I'm like really thankful to be from here. I'm really happy to call this home forever,
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people don't take the time, or they're just not fortunate enough to have that experience of being able to step outside of the hometown. Because I think it's real easy, especially in a creative industry here, to feel like everything sucks.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It's really just the energy that you put out there and the people that you decide to be around.
Exactly.
So it's just about taking those steps, finding those people, and putting yourself in cool environments.
Yeah. Exactly.
Even though you are from here and you live in Nashville now, and you say that you like being here, before we start recording, you're telling me you just got a house in Nashville. So things are going well there too.
Well, it didn't buy one, but it's nice to be in a house.
But still, you're committing to some point in time of being there versus here. I'm sure there was well, I could either go back to Pittsburgh, or I could stay in Nashville, or I could go somewhere else. But you chose to stay in Nashville.
Yeah.
So what's the experience been like there now over the past couple years, working with people, meeting people? I guess 2020 doesn't count, but.
Yeah. I mean, 2020 it's kind of crazy for everybody. And everybody's got their own little extra reason that it was even more crazy for them. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy because everybody 99% of people in Nashville are songwriters.
Sure.
So wherever you go, it's like musician, songwriter, everywhere. Bartenders, just waitresses, people that work 9-to-5 jobs. I mean, it really is how people say Music City. It really is. And everybody's like, oh, do you do country? When I tell them I live in Nashville now, or even people in Nashville that I talk to when they first meet me. So you're a country artist? No, I'm not. There's a pop scene there. And there's actually a lot of people, pop producers specifically, that I've noticed moving from LA to Nashville now. So, I mean, there's a pretty good pop scene there, and everybody does music. So it's great.
Yeah. So was that something that you were, expecting, or were you kind of surprised once you got into it, realizing how big it is? Because everybody does say it's big, you hear that it's big, but being there versus hearing stories, it's two different things.
I honestly think I expected it, because everybody, the guy that was my roommate, my first roommate, then when I went down there, he told me about it on the phone before I even got there. He was like, yeah, there's shirts that say, let's write some time, everybody's like, let's write some time. And I kind of expected it. When my dad visited me down there, though, he was like shocked. He was like, "This is really music everywhere." I'm like, "Yeah, I told you. That's what." But yeah, I guess you have to see it to believe it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So with, family and deciding to take this big step, it seems like you have a pretty supportive base behind you right now,
Yeah.
which is huge.
It really is. And I'm so thankful to have that. My parents have always been supportive. Like, my dad just drove me here because I flew into town this time. So I don't have a car with me this time. So yeah, they've always driven me. I used to compete in gymnastics, and they've driven me all over the place for any kind of performances that I've, ever done in my whole life. So they've always been supportive.
So when did you decide to really start pursuing the music stuff?
Actually, I was like 3.
Okay.
When I kind of maybe like 5, but when I was like 3, my grandma was babysitting me, and my aunt Sarah owns a furniture store, Potomac Furniture.
Shout out to Dortmund.
Shout out. Well, it's actually like past Upper St. Clair a little bit. Yeah. Potomac Furniture, shout out. So when I was like 3, my grandma was babysitting me, and she put me on the loudspeaker of the furniture store, and I was singing "You Are My Sunshine." So I just I don't know. I guess people think, oh, when you're 3, like every 3-year-old kind of like sings, but I always knew that it's what I wanted to do. And obviously that was true because I'm doing it still now and will continue to. So
that's awesome. So, one of the things that's really hard, I think, for a lot of people getting into this world is just honestly getting into it.
Yes.
I mean, once you're in it, it's not that hard to do the thing that you love.
Yeah.
But taking that step and being like, I'm going to do this for real.
Yeah.
What was that like for you? And what was, if anything, was there like one thing or one experience that made you realize like, oh, I could do this?
Well, yeah, like when I was 3, I wasn't really in the industry. I just knew I wanted to.
Yeah.
I guess that's a different question. I kind of messed that up. Sorry.
That's okay.
But, yeah, my first professional recording was when I was 14. So I just remember like telling my dad, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. Let's find a studio. I really just need to do this. I have to do this, So I went to Sound Color Productions. Jay Weaver, I still remember, was my first, producer, like when I was 14. And I didn't release any music until I was 21. So that's funny.
That's a long time.
Yeah, that's funny that you say that it's, the hardest part of doing it is doing it, because for a long time, like I would have meetings with like managers and producers and stuff and show them like, this is my, stuff I've had recorded. And they would be like, well, you have to do this, this, and this. Like, it's not good enough yet. Okay. So that's fine. Like I was growing, I'm still growing. I always will be. But I've learned that you just have to just put it out. Just put it out. Like, you're right. Like, just do it. Just put it out and you'll grow. Because if I would have put out that song when I was 14, like,
who knows?
Exactly. I kept it to myself for a while. I mean, I performed and stuff when I was 16 with a reggae band around town, but I didn't actually release any music until I was 21. So the hardest part is just do it. And now I'm releasing music and I'm like, nope, just let's release it.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of releasing music, I suppose that would be a good segue. Let's talk about real quick, just your most recent release. I'm going to pop over to YouTube real quick. What the heck is this?
It's my new single, Mind. It's a dance video for my new single, Mind. And
this seems like this was a lot of fun to shoot.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
This was actually in Morgantown, and my friend Corinthia owns this dance studio. Lil Jamaz Hip Hop Company is what they're called. Can't talk today. Is what they're called. 2020, just messing my words up.
Okay.
But yeah, it was so much fun. I stayed down there for a weekend when I was here in Pittsburgh for the summer because, COVID and there wasn't really much, going on in Nashville with gigs. So, yeah, stayed down there. I know TJ, my main dancer here, and Corinthia and Margaret and Cameron. And I met Z, the one on the right there. I actually met him. They introduced me to him. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I want to do that again and again and again.
Yeah. I think that, it's really fun when you get into this realm of creativity where you get to start investing time in things outside of just like being in the studio.
Yeah.
Like, you get to spend time, doing choreography and learning fun dances and meeting new people. And like, that's the shit that's fun. It's like, oh, this is why I'm making songs, why I'm making like these connections to just to like have this fun and do these things like this.
Yeah.
With, the origins back to, the song that you recorded when you were 14, musically, do you feel like you were still trying to do something that was pop back then too?
Yeah.
So that's always been the interest.
Yeah. Pop alternative is what I've always called myself. And people in the past have been like, what is pop alternative? You can't that's not a thing.
Sure. It's totally a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. And it's just pop. I mean, this song is like pop R&B. Mine is pop R&B. Bad Girl is like pop reggae hip hop. I have my EP Take a Chance that's like pop country. So yeah, it's pop alternative.
So then, when you were starting to just listen to music and starting to find music that you felt like was your own, what were some of the artists that you grew up on that maybe inspired you to want to do this?
So I think the reason that I like to dive into so many different pop subgenres is because I grew up on Aerosmith and Journey. Like my dad, I sang Crying for my preschool show and tell when I was 4.
That rules.
So, but as far as me finding my own influences, those were, influences that my dad showed me and I love them. But as far as me finding my own, Tinashe, Sierra, Christina Aguilera was I think my first really big influence. Nelly Furtado is a big one. She started off kind of, pop, folk.
Yeah.
So, and then she went to hip hop.
Oh yeah, she did that album with Timbaland.
Yeah.
That album slaps.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. So I have a lot of influences. With Mind, Justine Skye was a big influence for that song in specific.
Okay.
And SZA and her. So yeah.
So now with, trying to take that step, you've taken that step. Obviously, you've taken plenty of steps in that music video, quite literally. But in that developmental period, I'm kind of curious to pick your brain a bit about this, because the way that a pop artist comes up is a lot different than the way that a punk band comes up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or because there's never this conversation between meeting with managers or having meetings at all. There's no planning at all.
Yeah.
It's just kind of you take your guitar amps to the VFW and play in front of the other teenagers until, you have a band. But, with you, you mentioned having meetings and people saying things aren't ready yet and that. So where did that stuff come about, and how did you even get into a position where you were having meetings? Was that something with family that helped set up, or because if I was 15 making music, I wouldn't think in a million years to be this is what I need to do. But it seemed rather professional. I'm just curious where that came from.
Yeah, sure. It's my mom's friend at work's husband had a reggae band. Right?
Okay. That you sang with?
Yes. When I was 16, 17. And he honestly, he got me a lot of those connections.
Okay, cool.
So yeah.
So it's being around somebody maybe a little older that's been in the industry for some time, being hey, don't waste your time doing this. Let's make sure if you're going to do something, do it right. Yeah. That sort of thing.
He also I recorded my first song when I was 14, but he introduced me to some other studios when I was 16. So then I started recording that more professional not more professional, but other professional songs. Yeah, when I was 16.
And this is
So,
all through, you know, the drama that is high school and life and all of that. So,
yeah.
how much of this was like a part of your life while finishing up high school? Was it like something that everybody knew about, or something that you just did on the weekends, or like how public were you with it, like with friends in school?
Well, I actually went to a performing arts high school.
Mm,
So for musical theater, Lincoln Park.
that'll
Yeah.
do it. Okay. All right.
But honestly, like I said, I didn't release music until I was like 21.
Sure.
But yeah, I told some of my friends about it and I showed them. And I was on the K-Deans for Keystone Oaks High School just because like I still lived in the district. And I showed a couple of them. I played my song Pickup Girl for them when I was like 17. That's the studio that like Greg introduced me to, that I recorded at. So I played Pickup Girl for them. So yeah, I mean, I was vocal with it with my friends and like my boyfriend at the time. And yeah, I like telling my friends like I was going to be singing with the reggae band this weekend and stuff. So I mean, I made it as much a part of my life as I could. It wasn't just something I did on the weekends. It was something that I would, come home from school and I would record as soon as I could if there was a slot at the studio that day. I mean, part of me even wanted to like homeschool and just do it. Like, I knew this was always what I wanted to do.
Well, at least you were in like a performing arts school. So
Yeah.
I imagine you were at least, again, talking about so much of this has to deal with your environment and the people that you have around you. At least you're around other creative people, even if they're not all like singers.
Yeah.
They're still people that are doing cool things.
It was great. Lincoln Park is a really good school. Like, really, if you have a kid that, needs to go to a performing arts school, it's great. It really is. They're great.
That's awesome. So overall, you had a pretty good high school experience then?
Yeah, I mean,
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody has their shit, right? We don't get out with nothing. But with post high school, you mentioned you didn't really release any music until you were 21.
Mm-hmm.
But most of us graduate when we're like 17, 18.
Yeah. 18.
So what happened in this 3-year period post high school, pre-releasing music? Did you do any after school stuff, like, or college? That's after school. College is what it's called.
I didn't go to college. I actually never took one college class. Like my friends were taking college classes in high school. You know how you could do that. I just didn't. I wanted to go for music. I wanted to go to this college in LA called Musicians Institute, but that's a big jump, and I didn't take that jump yet. And yeah, so I didn't go to college. I ended up working at Coach Gymnastics and did daycare at this place where they had both. It was under the same business, the daycare and gymnastics. And I just recorded music and like switched studios over and just got my first album ready.
So in that time frame prior to being, because I know that, it could be really complicated, I think, in that time frame after we graduate high school and we don't know exactly what we're going to do. I mean, I was in a position too where I didn't go to college or anything, but I knew I wanted to do some sort of creative, artistic thing, whether it was with music or with graphic design or any of the other things that I was into that seems impossible to make a life out of, right? And and the other thing about it that sucked was that all of my friends that I had in high school, that like that creative hub, it all dissipated because I had some friends that moved to go to school and some people did this, and then all of a sudden I'm like alone, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? Because like everybody that I did all this creative shit with is gone now, and like I don't have nothing. I don't know. We figured it out though.
Yeah.
We figured it out. Yeah. So you started taking that time, putting that first album together. Yeah. Was it an album, an EP? Yeah.
EP. Yeah, sorry.
First batch of songs.
Yes.
Gotcha. So you released that around 21. And then what was it like, for the first time, in the pop world? It's such a different thing. I've never like really operated in that mindset in terms of like releasing something to that demographic of people. what was it like just being like, it's finally ready. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Like, how did you know it was ready?
I mean, I had to be ready at that point.
Sure.
You can't really wait any longer.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. I did a lot of shows at that time too. Honestly, a lot with like the hip hop community here in Pittsburgh. And I loved that, so I worked a lot with hip hop artists and everything, and they're very supportive. So yeah, I kind of released it out to just whoever wanted to listen to my music at that time. And I didn't know much about like ads and, just like marketing in general. I know a lot more now, especially like being in Nashville, where you go to a restaurant and somebody behind you and in front of you and beside you is talking about their next
Oh yeah,
release.
everybody's talking about algorithms.
Yeah, just all the time. So yeah, but I released it to whoever would listen, and just with my family and friends, and just people that were in the audiences when I would perform. I would, make sure to give them my information and stuff. And there was actually this one lady and her daughter in New York City when I went there, because I went to New York City a few times. I have cousins there. I did a few open mics while I was there, and I actually did a couple bar performances. There was this lady at the Sidewalk Cafe, which is closed down now. And I'm so sad because it was so amazing. But at the Sidewalk Cafe, right before I released my music, I did my song Emergency Exit at the open mic. And her and her daughter came up to me and were like, oh my God, you're so good. I love that song. And they still share my music. So it's just things like that like, wow, like, thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So one of the benefits that, I think that you have in the world of music that you have is that ability to do open mics. Because there are some artists in certain demographics of music where that's just not a possibility. And there's so many more like open doors, for people that have like an accessible, easy to listen, easy to market, easy to play anywhere sort of thing like you do. But also there's a lot of people trying to squeeze through that door.
Yeah.
So do you find yourself to be much of a competitive person?
I did competitive gymnastics when I was growing up. Honestly, moving to Nashville in a good way, like it made me see that it's not a competition. Everybody's so good, and you can just learn from each other and support each other, and you're on your own path. So it's not really a competition. It is in some ways. And you should have that competitive spirit sometimes, and for the right times and the right reasons. But it's taught me, moving to Nashville has taught me that you got your own journey. You don't have to, compete with anybody really.
Totally.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thanks.
With creating content. Now everything's content now, right? In 2020,
Yes.
The internet, that's all about content. How much do you stress over the concept of needing to put out consistent content? Are you more of a quality over quantity, or do you feel that like it's important to be posting 3 times a day what you're doing?
Oh my gosh, I don't post 3 times a day. I probably should.
Maybe.
But
I don't think anybody should. I don't think anybody has time to keep up with that.
Yeah, I have a problem posting every day.
Sure, same.
I did at one point, and I'll go periods of time where I do. And, people that I talk to that know more about like the algorithms and stuff, like they tell me like, be consistent, which is true for anything you want to do, be consistent. But sorry, what was the question?
Well, it was quality over quantity, because I do believe, I think the idea of being consistent is good.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes people, I could be wrong, but I feel that people misunderstand the use of the term consistent. Like, I feel like things just need to be consistently good, but it doesn't have to be like consistent every day. Because if you're consistently putting out mediocre things, all of a sudden you're now mediocre.
Yeah.
Whereas you could just scale it back and
that's
put
what
out
you're known as.
less things, but everything you put out is good. I think people are going to be happy to follow you and be on your journey. And you'll probably be in a healthier, happier place because you're not forcing yourself to do all the stuff that you kind of don't want to do.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I've been going through this a lot over the past few years, and I'm finally getting to a point now where I'm like, I don't give a shit about or just not that I don't give a shit. It's like I give too much of a shit to not let myself give a shit about how good one of the things I'm putting out are, you know? But it's easy to get caught up in all that consistency, algorithm, mumbo jumbo stuff. I don't know.
I think everything is like a balance, right? So it's like when you, like we were talking about earlier, when you don't release anything because you're waiting and waiting and waiting and you just are a little bit scared to get into it, because you're scared like what the world's going to say. Your music's out there for everybody.
Yeah.
I think that like there's a balance between that and releasing it just how it is. I think you need to obviously check it, make sure it's good, everything. And I think you should be pretty consistent, but it should be good. You should be happy with it. So like I love all of my songs, they're me, they're a part of me. But my song Mind is just, for me, it's kind of the type of music that I've like always been wanting to do. I love pop R&B. I love it. So I just lost like my own place in my own head. But I just, with Mind, it's different when you love it so much. And I didn't know if people would love this one. It's different. But this seems to be getting like the most good feedback that I've seen. And that really reminded me that if you love it as an artist, that's the most important thing.
I think that it's really important to pay attention to the energy that you wrap around your art.
Yeah.
Because, if it's negative or if you're kind of like lackadaisical about like, oh yeah, I did this thing, it's whatever. Like that's the idiot that I was for a long time. And it's like, oh, of course everybody's going to think that it's all right because I'm like, hey, check this out. It's all right.
Yeah.
Like, maybe
So
you'll like
true.
it, maybe you won't. I don't necessarily think that you need to be like, this is the best song ever.
No, yeah.
But the way you were just talking about like, hey, like I think this is really good and, I feel really good about it. I feel like it's a good reflection of me. And, people that are your friends or fans are going to be like, hey, I like Abigail. I want to see, it's like, okay, like listen, then we'll connect with it in a different way. Cause there's this weird thing where I feel like people more than ever aren't super interested in being a fan of somebody. Like they want to be a friend. Like they really want to feel like they're a part of what you are and who you are.
Yeah.
Which, feeds into all of that posting mediocre content consistently that I try to avoid. But it's also like, I don't know. It's really easy to overthink being yourself.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I feel like with Mind, I didn't do that at all. Like I was just said how I felt. And the production, it's just how I felt. And that's what it is. And I think people can tell. So
with the future now, because who knows what's going to happen? Everything is really, really unfortunate right now.
What's going to happen?
Yeah, it is. And like, we're in, a rather precarious situation because we're both performers. And while there's plenty of things that we can do, behind the scenes, we can keep filming music videos, we can keep writing songs, we can keep recording, but like we need to be on a stage.
Yeah.
To like really be able to grow.
Yeah.
I feel like, it's really, really hard for up and coming artists, I think, to grow on the internet unless there's some weird particular it about it, like some sort of like a gimmick or something that's so over the top crazy that people just want to look at it. And like, I'm not that person. I feel like you're not that person. This is more of like, we're just being ourselves and making fun music.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard, I think, to thrive on the internet with that. So, how do you like deal with that when thinking about like concepts for videos or concepts for songs? Do you ever find yourself being like, oh, like maybe I could do something that's a little bit more edgy?
Yeah.
and shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes. And I'm like,
Because I mean, like, I don't mean this in a bad way. You just still seem like a very like edgy person. Like you seem like just like really nice and happy to be in the environment and the world that you're around, which is great. Like those are the people I love being around. But like that's like not what the popular people like drama and craziness and over the top shit. So how do we balance that?
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
I'm still figuring it out. Yeah, that's a tough question.
Especially in like the genre of music that you're, that you're into. Because I deal with it too, playing in a heavy metal band, because like I'm not angry.
Yeah.
So, but I like really loud, aggressive music. It's fun to me. But like not everybody that listens to that type of music wants to have fun.
Yeah.
Like they're looking for like, some sort of a darkness. And I just don't have that in me anymore. So it's like, well, how do I continue to I don't want to fabricate darkness. Because I don't want to bring that energy into my life.
Right.
But how do I find a way to still be myself, but put this out and have it be genuine that people will get? That's what I'm always thinking about, that sort of shit.
I think it just comes down to really how I was talking about before with my new single Mind. It's just, I didn't really try,
Yeah.
It was so fun. It was so fun to record and to shoot the video with my friends. And by the way, I met Corinthia and Margaret on the set of Bad Girl.
Oh, cool.
So, and then we've just been friends ever since. But that is a great example for me. I just feel so different releasing that song and how much fun I had with it and everything. And I guess there are things that you're like, oh, what's trending? What should I put in my video? What do I need to do that's popular to get it more views, But I just feel like sometimes when you're an artist, you need to get off of that and focus on your music and be creative and make your own trend.
Totally.
Just be you, It's as simple as that sounds. It's true.
I think that it's really easy to, I mentioned this, the last episode that I recorded, I was talking about this, but it's really easy to overwork the dough.
Yeah.
Of your creativity, and you just got to know when to let it rest, and that the dough will rise itself. It'll be ready to go. But it's really hard to be patient with that. And it's, obviously the best songs are always the ones that you don't think about, the ones that just come to you.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen nearly enough.
I know.
So,
right.
Are you somebody that is comfortable with the concept of needing to just let material go, in terms of I'm starting to write this song and I kind of like it, but I know it's not going to go anywhere? Or do you really try to chop away at everything and make every single thing that you write happen?
Oh my gosh. Notebooks full of half songs. What are you talking about? No, definitely don't finish everything I write and put it out. I mean, I have ideas from years ago that I maybe will finish next month. I mean, it's all over the place. It's art, Yeah,
it's everybody writes differently, and everybody approaches things differently. I think that it seems that the way you're approaching everything seems to be the most healthy and well-adjusted. And I don't know where it comes from, because not everybody has that. Maybe it's the performing arts school background. Maybe it's, a nice family. Maybe it's just good environment, good people around you. Who knows? Because you don't really seem to be much of a mess.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad I don't seem like that. It all comes out in my music. That's what, that's what the music's for.
Yeah. So with, meeting other artists and finding people that, you gel with, you're probably going to find people, at some point in time that maybe you don't necessarily gel with, or certain energies that you're just not this isn't quite right for me. It's something that I've dealt with a lot with playing shows, because there's just the way people act in those environments and meeting other artists and things. So, over the course of time and working with other people, have you like found like a spidey sense of like, oh, like this is a good environment to be in, and like, oh, I need to get away from these people, or that sort of energy?
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, with the producer that I work with now, I mean, we gelled right away, and I've, got some of my best songs like with him.
Mhm.
And I've definitely gone through my fair share of working with people that they're great, but we don't gel. And I've just learned so much from that. And yeah.
It could be really hard to find like a producer that understands what you're going for,
Yes.
and to find somebody that is actually invested and wants to be a part of your journey.
Yeah.
Because for sometimes it's like people are talented and they're good at what they do, but it's also like, well, this is their job. So they're more just concerned with getting the job done
Yeah.
over actually, making something beautiful happen.
Right. And that's so, I mean, I understand like it is a job, you have to, eat and get on to the next one. But as an artist, it kind of sucks, when somebody's not as excited about your project as you are, and they don't like see the things that you see. Because I remember when I was like 16 and first recording, I was like, but this isn't how it sounds in my head. I mean, it sounds cool, but it's just not how it sounds in my head. And I've gotten better at explaining what I hear in my head and it being able to come to life now.
Yeah. I think that's a huge thing that really comes with time of spending time in the studio and starting to understand maybe different terminology, what certain things are, and being able to tell the engineer or the producer like, hey, like less reverb or more compression or blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. I think that, these are relatively important conversations to have, especially with up and coming people, because like we were talking about not knowing when or how to take that step into everything. And I'm sure like before finding producers that you were comfortable with, it could have been a thing where like, am I wrong? Am I just a dingbat? Like, but like, it's just because like, somebody owns a studio doesn't mean that it's right for you. It's the same thing with like, because somebody does tattoos, that doesn't mean that they do the tattoo that you want.
Right.
And,
exactly.
Or chefs, or you could apply it to anything.
I love your references. Yeah.
With, now that you have found kind of like you're starting to find your voice, I'm sure you'll continue to find your voice. Otherwise, what's the point of even doing art if you can't continue to grow? Is there anything that you haven't done yet that you're hoping to, in terms of like experimenting, pushing this pop persona in like maybe more of like a direction over here, just any styles that you haven't tried?
Like other genres? And stuff?
Anything.
Yeah, I mean, I want to try them all. Honestly, like I've thought about, I mean, my Take a Chance EP was like pop country, but I've thought about, since I am in Nashville, doing something like really country, doing a really country song. Why not? Doing more of a rock song. Why not? But honestly, right now I'm going more towards the pop R&B. Like that's what I really want to focus on, because now I've finally found that voice and that sound and the person that's good to work with for that sound and everything. So that's what I am going to be focusing on. But yeah, of course, like there's plenty of things I still want to try and experiment and collaborate with people from different genres. I think that's so cool. I mean, the best collaborations are like a pop artist and just the opposite.
Sure. And I think that it's really hard to grow as a musician on any capacity if you're not able to take that step outside of your box and work with other people. Even if it's stuff that never gets finished, it's still like an important exercise, and like learning how people in different genres of music approach songwriting, how they approach melody, how they approach song structure, because it's a lot different in different genres for some things. And it's cool because you can like take what you learn and then apply it to what you're doing if you want.
Yeah.
and maybe make something super cool.
Yeah.
Because there are no rules. It's just really
Right.
easy to feel like there are rules.
Yeah. Well, when I was first in Nashville, like 3 years ago, after the songwriting retreat, I had a meeting with a writer's rep at ASCAP, and I I showed him, I think it was Bad Girl, and he gave me advice. Like he told me some advice, and instead of changing the song, like he was, kind of saying, you could do this instead. The song was already done. It wasn't out yet, but then I put it out and I just wrote a different song. Like I just take that advice and put it to the next song, or write a song about that person giving me advice. Like,
Sure.
It really is. It really does feel like there's rules sometimes, but there's not.
I mean, I don't think there's not rules to the art, but there's rules to the business.
Yes.
So there's like two different
Yeah.
conversations. I'm curious, in the conversations that you've had that are more business focused, are there any like common threads that like different people bring up? Like what, like in terms of things that you should be doing or things that you shouldn't be doing in like a pop world?
Mostly just branding is what I've, heard.
I'm not a Starbucks.
Like, yeah, that's mostly what I've been, like the meetings that I've had ever since I was 16, 15, whatever. Mostly is about branding, about finding what you want to, what's your box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny because it's like the music is whatever. That's fine. You've songs that are audible, cool. But like, what are we gonna do to get people to listen to those songs?
Yeah.
Like, who do you want to listen to your songs? So you gotta like become that person for that demographic of people.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing happened to me about 5 years ago. When I realized that like the demographic of people that I thought I was making music for couldn't care less about my music. And the people that I wouldn't expect were the people that were like into it. So like I was putting a lot of time just being myself. I wasn't trying to be anything, but I thought that these people over here would get it, but they didn't. And it was I found, a surprise thing over here. Like, oh, like I didn't even think to talk to you people about it, but you're getting it. Cool. And then I started investing energy in that, even though I really so hard wanted to be a part of this bubble. It's like what I was doing didn't make sense to that bubble.
Yeah.
But I still found people to embrace it. So I don't know. It's weird, but I definitely understand and get the concept of branding. It's just so strange. I feel like when you're just a person.
Right. I get it too. I mean, I completely understand it. It is, it is needed in some form. But as an artist, when somebody says that to you, it's like, oh, but I just want to like make this song and then make that song and have this image. And I think also for me anyway, when people are telling me, you need to find your brand, I think it just comes over time. Like, I think I'm finding it and I'll still be finding it. I mean, you're an artist. I think it comes over time. I don't think you can just be like, yep, this is what I want to do. I think you have to find it and it naturally kind of happens.
It finds you.
Really? Like with this new song.
Sure.
Like I keep bringing it up, but it's so true. I think I'm really just finding it now. And I don't think that's something that I could have in the meeting been like, oh, well, this is what I want to do. Because I could have, but it wouldn't have happened in the same way. I could have been like, I want to do pop and R&B, and I really like the color purple, and I want to, that can be my color. It's got to happen genuinely. Like when I do a photo shoot and I'm wearing a purple like jacket, and then the guitar is like turquoise, and it comes together and it feels so much better than, okay, I think this is the color I want to go for. No, like it just happens, and it feels right. And when it feels right, it's so much better than okay, overnight, like, what do I do? What color do I want? What should I tell them in the meeting tomorrow? I mean, that's necessary, but it feels so much better to just find it naturally and over time. And I think if it feels better to you, like we said, it feels better to your audience and they can tell.
Yeah, I think that I like wish that us as artists and musicians had some better way to just connect with people without needing to feel like, how do I word this? So it's like, I sometimes feel like I'm not allowed to be just a musician. Like I have to show my normal life. Like I can't have like a private life. Like everything has to be out. So it's like I have to just have my normal life and the musician stuff, and it all has to mix together. But like I don't want it to mix together because these are wildly different things. Like who I am in my private life, I don't even have a private life, but my personal life, we'll call it. Like, sure, it is reflected in my music, but it's a lot different. Like I'm a lot more boring than, it may come off as. Cause like I'm pretty much like I'll cook food and listen to some records, and it's not that exciting. I like funny beers. It's not nothing to talk about, but like, it's hard for me to keep up this kind of like rock star 24/7 sort of thing that I feel like my branding needs, because I am not that person. I am so like just laid back.
Yeah.
I'm not a fucking rock star.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
And like with TikTok and like doing videos and like talking to the camera all the time, it's like, I don't know. How do you feel about that? I like doing it sometimes, but I don't know. I just feel weird about it sometimes.
I don't have a TikTok account. I have like flirted with the idea of having one, but I feel like, again, with the conversation of branding, the branding of your character on TikTok needs to be very specific if you want to make it worthwhile. Like, what are you doing on TikTok?
Oh,
not you, but this, in general, like a question, like I ask myself, like, what would I be doing on TikTok?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if anything that I do, aside from like I had considered, because I do drawing. So I was like, oh, maybe I could do a lot of like time lapse art videos, and that could be my TikTok thing. Because I don't really have any social media platforms that I like showcase a lot of my art. Most of it's taken over by music and podcasts. So that could be cool. But also like, I really only maybe draw once a month if I'm lucky. So am I going to have a TikTok page where I post once a month? You need to be consistent, right? Yeah. But then it goes back to if I'm consistently good, doesn't matter. I don't know.
I don't know with TikTok. I feel like with TikTok, you have to post like 3 times a day. I mean, I've had it for like 2 months, 3 months now, and I only have like 7 posts.
Yeah.
So I don't do that. But I'm also not going viral.
Yeah. I have a friend who is actually on the podcast. By the time this episode airs, my episode with her will have aired. So if anybody's interested in the demographics of how to make a successful TikTok, listen to my episode with Heather Taylor.
Oh.
So she is Before the Coffin on TikTok, and she found a niche, and I don't even know how many, I think she got like 300,000 followers in like less than half a year.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like it's probably more than that now. I have no idea the numbers, but yeah, she really blew up and found a brand. Like, and the funny thing is, what's interesting about what she does. So she has several things that she does, but basically who she was on the internet, she was already doing on Instagram forever, and like had social media, but like when she went to TikTok, she was just posting the same content, but it worked on TikTok in a way that it just wasn't working on other platforms, which was really interesting.
Yeah. I wonder why. Like, it's so funny.
I think that, different social media platforms cater to different personality types of people. Like us as artists, maybe we have like a half dozen social media accounts because we feel like we have to have them, right?
Yeah.
Like I have a Twitter that I don't use. I don't care.
Oh my God, I never use Twitter.
And you know, I have, you know, an Instagram that I use sometimes, and I have a Facebook that I use for everybody that's older than 30 years old that I know. And like, you know, it's like this weird mixture of things. But like if I had to just, if I was a normal, just if I wasn't an artist, I'd probably only have one. I'd probably have like the Instagram.
Same.
But like now it's like, well, you got to have the Instagram. You got to link it with your Facebook page if you want the posts to boost, right? And all this,
Yep.
God, like, like I'm tied down to all these things. So I have no like real understanding of like what it's like to just feel like, oh, I have my one thing that I like and it's TikTok. Like sometimes like managing all these profiles makes me feel like I'm schizophrenic or something. So I'm like, how do I post something interesting for Twitter? How do I post something interesting for Instagram?
It's so much.
How do I do this? You know,
I think it's so crazy that like, and hats goes off to the people that do this, but the people that, you know, aren't musicians and they're doing it for fun. Like, I don't know. I couldn't.
Well, I think that
maybe it's better though, because you're doing it for fun. I mean, you're just, I don't know, but still it's like, oh, let me post this and post that and post this and look what I did today. And
well, I think that, you know, it's they're not concerned with the algorithm or concerned with their branding. They're just being themselves.
Yeah.
And I feel like if there's anything to learn from normal people, you gross normal people, if there's anything to learn from people that aren't creatives but use social media, it's like, this isn't that fucking serious.
Yeah.
And the only people that are looking at your posts and being like, oh wow, good branding, are other people that are just artists.
Yeah.
You know, like it's so
it's true.
trying to, it's like, you know, and like who what's the demographic that you're going for? You know, normal people or other artists.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you want to target normal people.
Mostly, yeah.
So how do we just learn to be normal again?
I don't know.
I have no idea. That's the whole thesis of this podcast in general, my show in general. How to be normal again for artists.
I don't think
101.
It's not. It's just not a thing. Like I always say that I did not choose this. Like it chose me. You know.
Yeah.
It's just like you said. The brand finds you. Like you can't be normal. You can't. You're an artist. I feel like everybody's an artist in their own way. But
I agree with that too.
Yeah.
Like there's always, you know, you might have like a random aunt or somebody that's like really good at like making wreaths.
Yeah.
And like that's one thing that they do.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, Janet, that's kind of fire. You know? And it's just like, oh, like, do you ever think about like selling these? And it's like, nah, it's just a thing that I do. Like, wow, you're really creative. You should tap into that more, Janet. I do not have an Aunt Janet. I was just kind of making something up. But yeah, situations like that.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, if you're an artist, I think more people are inclined to following that creativity. I think everybody is creative, but I think more people, some people more than others are called to following it and making it a real thing and putting it out into the universe. You know, some people have that creativity and they just don't feel like they need to put it out into the universe as much as like, you know, we do. And that's fine. I think that's the difference. But everybody has that artist side. I feel like everybody has it.
Yeah. It's interesting when you get to a point of, you know, your creativity and the things that you love the most, your passions becoming your life, not only like personally or socially, but like monetarily. Like you start like making money off of all this. And like, I'm not in a position where like I make 100% of my income off of my art.
Right.
And I think that
It's
would
hard.
be tight, but I'm also really frightened by that in some ways. Because like when, you know, once I enter that realm, like, is this art my own anymore? And like, or now am I like, you know, I don't want to be like enslaved to my creativity to keep a roof over my head.
Yeah.
But also maybe I
that.
just overthink things because I'm an artist.
I think so. I I think so. I think, yeah, that's the main thing that we do is overthink.
That's true.
Everything we have, like all the songs we have, or if you're a painter, it's like, okay, is this good enough? Is this good enough? No, I should have done this instead. I should have done that instead.
Yeah, it's like when your creativity works against you.
Yeah.
And you start thinking of the worst possible scenarios instead of the best.
Yeah. And you can, I've realized, when you can reach a certain goal and then you're like, okay, where's the next goal? And you're happy for a little bit, but then you're like, okay, where's the next goal? I mean, even like Justin Bieber is probably like, that's not good enough. I need the next goal.
Oh, sure.
And it's just, you just got to find like happiness within you. And that's why you have to be happy about your art, because that's why you should be doing it, because it makes you happy and then the rest will follow.
I agree. I think that having that positive energy, again, we've talked about like energies and environments and auras. I don't know if I've said that word out loud today or not, but I just did, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that like that is like honestly more important than the branding, like focusing on that and maybe even letting that good energy become your brand. There are people with good that like, I don't know if their brand is anything else outside of good energy.
Yeah.
Like, who's somebody I could think of that has good energy?
I mean, Gallo is a really positive.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gallo, his thing is positivity. I mean, that's really part of his brand and it works and it's great. And that's who he is too. He just is himself. I think he's really genuine and that works.
So, now moving forward as we are soon to be leaving the year 2020, entering 2021, hoping, for some clarity in terms of the state of the world, because things are wacky right now. But for you as an artist, you're going to keep going. You're going to keep chugging along. What's next? Anything on the horizon that you could tell us about?
I have a few songs coming out. We were talking about consistency, and in 2021, I'm going to be very consistent with releasing good music.
Nice.
My next song that is releasing, it's called Hang It Up, and it's actually one of the first songs that I recorded in Nashville. We think it's now the right time to release it in 2021, January. So yeah, that's the first thing that's coming up, consistent music and hopefully some shows. Me and my backup dancers, before all this happened, were talking about a tour in 2021 in the spring. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but I would love to tour as soon as possible. That's one of my dreams. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, until then, I think that like you have plenty of work ahead of you and you seem to be, positive, good head on your shoulders. Thanks. I think that you'll figure this out no matter what shit gets thrown at you.
Oh, sometimes it's like I've thought about giving up so many times. I mean, what artist hasn't, right?
Yeah.
But no matter how much you think about giving up, for me anyway, I can't, because it's who I am. I'm going to go back into the studio and I'm going to go write. I'm going to record. I'm going to think about music video concepts and I'm going to want to dance. So going to want to choreograph. I can't not do it. It's good to take a break sometimes, but which is what Mind is about. But I can't not do it. So it just happens.
I gotcha. So for anybody out there in the internet that wants to follow you, we can pull up your Instagram here. Check it out. Abigail Jerri on Instagram. Where else would you like people to find you? I imagine you want them to subscribe to your YouTube channel probably and check out this music video for Mind. You have music on Spotify maybe, or the other streaming platforms?
iTunes, pretty much all the platforms, Deezer, anything you can probably think of, it's there. TikTok. My songs, I didn't even know my songs were on TikTok, but then my backup dancers over the summer were like, they helped me make the TikTok. They were like, you need to make a TikTok. And we did like a little dance video to Bad Girl. And they were like, are your songs on TikTok? And I was like, I don't know. And they were there. I didn't even know. So yeah, my songs are on TikTok too.
Thanks, online distributors.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool. Well, with all that being said, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to do my outro.
Okay.
And that'll be it. And that is all, folks. Thanks so much for being here. one more time, Abigail Jerri, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll be back again in a couple days with another episode. Same time, same place, same channel. You know the drill. My name is Sykes. Start the beat 2020. Whoop, whoop. Thanks for listening. And we're done. That was a podcast. Yay!